Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news, and update show where we discuss all the latest news coming in regards to Manchester United. Big updates coming out in regards to Antony. I'm not sure if you watched yesterday's show, but we went through a lot of information in yesterday's show about Malacia, his exit, bids potentially coming in for Malacia, but Saudi having interest in Antony. It was a report that came out from Sky Sports about Saudi's interest in Antony. It has now been confirmed, yes, confirmed, by Antony's agent that Antony is very much ready and open for this Saudi move. Is this a game to get Betis and scare them to finally make a bid? Because while Betis play broke, they've made over £50 million in sales and Antony is willing to take a wage cut. Or is Antony on his way to Saudi? £34 million price tag. I think Antony will end up going for 30 million. I don't think we'll get 34 million. That's 40 million euros. That is the price tag on Antony. That's how much we paid for Xerxes. I don't know if we'll get that much for him, but Antony's agent is confirming, look, he's ready. He wants that move. And look, Antony's agent's dropped a few interesting things. We're going to talk about Mbeumo debut today versus West Ham. Will he be getting the goals? Ollie Watkins. We're going to be talking about Ollie Watkins, guys. I really would like to see Ollie Watkins and Mbeumo back playing together. We're going to talk about the West Ham game as well. So, yeah, hope everybody is doing well. This is going to be a short live show, just covering the news, having a little bit of a chat. It's a Saturday. We're keeping an eye on the preseason games as well, while live was keeping an eye on the Tottenham game. Liverpool are playing. There's no Nunes or Diaz for Liverpool, which says to me Isak's probably going that way. Although they need a centre-back because Joe Gomez is out injured. But I tell you what, for FPL, watching preseason games can always actually help, I find, as well, because then you get an indication of who's going to play where potentially as well. But let's continue into the news. Let's continue into the stories. No, I'm back from holiday. The only place I could get good Wi-Fi when I was on holiday was in the toilet. So I was literally having to film in the bathroom. Like, I wasn't literally on the toilet, but I had to film in the bathroom. But we are back. We are back from Italy. And yeah, let's dive into the news. Antony is now open to a move to Saudi Arabia. This was said by Sam C. Reports. Cool. But it was said earlier on by sources close to Antony's agent, and Antony's agent himself, that Antony's agent has confirmed there is interest from Saudi Arabia and Antony's now open to making the move. Now, Sam C worked with the United Stand, has got good sources of information. He used to get a little bit of info on Antony. I think they had a close relationship with Antony and Antony's agent there. So he's saying Antony's open to move to Saudi Arabia. I believe that he's got good sources in regards to Antony because they got exclusives on the United Stand. You've obviously got Antony's agent coming out and confirming there is interest from Saudi and Antony's open to making the move there. And Saudi, we know, are interested in Antony, as we discussed yesterday. Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on the Tottenham game. But it's not like the Tottenham is playing most of their, they're playing Sarr, but they're playing most of their B team. Sarr Romero, most of their B team. But let's continue on into the Man United game. But there is a few preseason games going on in the back, so I have got them there. Just keeping an eye on the preseason game, see what happens. But Antony's agent dropped this. Antony's agent said this. What can I say? What I can say is that the player is on the market, and there are several clubs that want to know his current situation. We listen to the projects and analyse them, but he's open to moving to Saudi Arabia. If there is a possibility that the player will continue with Manchester United, everything is possible. We're looking at what's best for him. He's saying, look, it's possible. Antony could continue with Manchester United. Of course, it's possible. But we know Antony doesn't want that. We know he wants to play in the World Cup. And we know that if he stays at United, his chances of doing that are slim. We also know in regards to Ruben Amorim that Amorim might potentially take Antony back. Ruben Amorim was asked about the likes of Antony, Malacia, Sancho and Garnacho. And he said any concern that the value of a player wanting to leave could be reduced. I understand that maybe other clubs are going to wait to the last minute, but they can have a surprise. I'm ready to receive the players. They will have more competition if they want to play in the World Cup next year. So I'm happy with that. He's saying I'll have more options. If clubs are willing to wait to the end of the window thinking we're going to sell Antony for lower, Ruben Amorim's message was pretty much, actually, no, we ain't going to be selling Antony for lower. Betis can wait to the end of the window all they want, but his message was essentially we aren't going to be selling Antony for lower. And maybe Antony's sin that United aren't going to go and let him go on loan to Real Betis Maybe it's sin that Real Betis have made 50 million in sales. He's told them he's going to take a wage cut and they're not bidding up for him. Maybe he's getting peed off with Betis and he's like, well, Saudi are interested in me, and he's now communicating he's open to that Saudi move. Is he open to that Saudi move because he thinks if he starts saying yes to other clubs, Real Betis will all of a sudden fork out £30 million to get the deal done? Maybe. Or is he just that desperate to get out of United? Because I do think with a World Cup coming up, is Saudi the place he wants to go? I think he wants Betis. I think he might use Saudi Arabia to get that move to Betis. United have put a €40 million asking price on Antony, which is £34 million. But I think Manchester United are more than willing to accept 30. It's like 70 million for Garnacho, but we know we'd probably accept 60. You can tell with certain asking prices. But why has this come out? Why is this relevant? Because obviously Sky Sports confirmed yesterday of this interest. So this came out yesterday from Sky Sports, which is why we're talking about Antony Saudi and Antony's agent confirming, he's happy to move to Saudi. Two of Saudi Arabia's top clubs are interested in signing Antony. I'm assuming Al Hilal and Al Nassr, but they've got like 4 good clubs there. A move to Real Betis is unlikely at this stage. Antony is taking his time to choose his next move and could be open to Saudi, but prefers to stay in Europe. Antony prefers to stay in Europe. World Cup coming up. He turned down Como. He turned down clubs in Italy to go to Real Betis. He's then seen Real Betis make a load of money in sales, go and move for everyone but him, and not make any progress while he's stuck in England and Brazil. And he's fed up. He's fed up. He's like, I turned down this move and that move. He turned down Como for Betis, and Betis had done that to him. So he's annoyed. He's a bit upset about that. So he's got interest from Saudi, and he's thinking, there's interest from Atletico, but we don't know how advanced interest is. He's thinking right now, Man United might not let me go to Betis on loan. If it's not an obligation, we're not going to let him go to Betis on loan. We're fed up. Amarin could take him back. So he's in a position right now where he's thinking, maybe I've got to accept Saudi. Maybe I've got to have talked to Saudi. Because maybe Real Betis, who've made 50 million in sales, might start coughing up some money for Antony and making some bids. Real Betis are desperate for Antony. They want Antony. They've told Antony they want him. They want to get a deal done, but they're not doing anything because they think if they drag it out, they'll get him cheaper. They'll get him on loan and we'll cave to a loan deal. Maybe if Antony starts talking to other clubs, maybe if Antony stops turning down other clubs, Real Betis are going to have all of this money that they're going to cough out. Maybe. Because this was said. And this is said. And this is why Antony showing interest in Saudi is good. Because this was said. Real Betis are going to delay their move for Antony until Manchester United have no choice but to do a loan deal. There are other interested clubs willing to pay a transfer fee, but Betis are hoping Antony will reject them all and accept a pay cut to join them. So this is what Betis want. Betis want to basically wait until the last week of the window when Antony has no options but Betis, and Man United have no options but to keep Antony or loan Antony. And Man United have just said, well, we'll keep Antony. Ruben Amorim just said, you do this to us, Betis, we'll keep Antony. Will we? I don't think we will. But Manchester United are now going to play the, well, if you do this to us, Betis, we'll keep Antony. We are not loaning him out. We're doing permanent. Antony could be a decent option for depth. I would try Antony at right wing back for depth. Not that I want him, not that he can get anywhere near Ahmad. But we're just playing that game. We're not going to play Antony. Antony doesn't want that. We don't want that. But Real Betis, this is your lesson. And I'm telling you this now. I want Antony to go for his career and just for the sake of he's no use to us. But I tell you what, if we kept Antony, because Real Betis came with a loan offer on deadline day and we kept Antony, that's a big message to other clubs. Other clubs will see that Real Betis waited all window to get Antony, who we said would only go on a permanent, and if they get him on loan on the last day of the window, clubs know they can do that with us. The fact that we've let Sancho go out on loan the last 2 windows, Rashford go out on loan, Real Betis, of course, are going to wait until the end of the window and do a loan offer for Antony, because we let Rashford go out on loan, we've let Sancho go out on loan twice. Of course they're going to do that. But if Manchester United actually went and just said no to a loan completely and brought Antony back, Antony's not going to be happy, of course. But that's a message to other clubs of, just because we loaned out Rashford and Sancho doesn't mean we're going to loan out every player. If you want our player, you've got to bid up. Because look at Chelsea. Look at Chelsea right now. Chelsea are getting serious bids coming in. They got a 25 million bid for Petrovic. They got 25 million bid for Disassi. They got 52 million for Madueke. They're looking at 60 million for Nicholas Jackson. There's now talk of, Chelsea selling Drewsbury Hall for 30 million. Chelsea bought Drewsbury Hall for 30 million, played him about twice, and are going to sell him for the same fee. Like, what? How is that possible? What? Though, of course, João Felix will be difficult to sell, and Cuckoo Sterling could be difficult to move on, but there is a lot of interest in Cuckoo. But other than Sterling, Chelsea just bring in these players, they don't do anything, and they still manage to sell them for good fees. Whereas we can't even sell players that actually did something on loan. Antony, who wants to take a wage cut. Rashford, who's actually a good player, wants to take a wage cut. We're struggling to do permanence. It's infuriating at times as a Manchester United fan. It's infuriating. Rate my team: Kelleher, Frimpong, Porro, Wan-Bissaka, Cherki, Mamouche, Eze, Salah, Cunha, Iza, Mateta. That's a good side. Do you know what? I might do an FPL video on my third channel. I haven't decided yet because I'm not I sometimes forget to do FPL some weeks, but I do watch a lot of football. But do you know what I'm struggling with? And this is really off topic with FPL. Is there's certain players where okay, Isak, but what's his future like right now? Diaz, what's his future like right now? Eze, is he going to go to Arsenal or not? FPL is very difficult at the moment because it's also if Eze goes to Arsenal late, will he pay in the first few games of the season if Arsenal make a move late? I think Victor Gyökeres, I'm waiting for him to potentially be on FPL. But it's hard to do that. But I might do maybe next week an FPL draft video, and then I'll do another one just before the season starts. But because there's so many new signings that are set to come in, and it's so difficult. That's why I like to watch 3 or 4 I like to watch every team's first 2 or 3 preseason games to have an idea as well. Anyway, let's continue on into the news and all of that as well. But we're keeping an eye on the preseason games here. Hopefully AC Milan do us a favour. And get some goals versus Liverpool, who have absolutely no centre backs at the moment right now. So they need to get Mark A in, probably more than Isak. But let's continue on. So this was an old report on United, but this is sort of indication. There's been many reports of United wanting 40 million euros for Antony. So this is again an indication of the 34 million Antony exit price. A meeting took place last week between Betis and Manchester United regarding Antony. The proposal is to extend the loan for another season, this time covering almost the entire salary. Betis fear that another team would come in with a 40 million proposal, which United would accept. If a team comes in and offers Manchester United 40 million euros for Antony, we will accept. I think if they offered us 35 million euros for Antony, we will accept. I think we'll accept anything over about 28 million for Antony right now. I think we will, because of book value, we want that 34 million. But there's a meeting that took place between United and Betis. And Betis were just saying, we'll a loan with an option to buy, and we'll cover his salary. Betis want what we've done with Rashford. Basically, we're not paying any of Rashford's salary, but they got an option to buy. So if Rashford is shit at Barcelona, they can send him back. If Rashford is good at Barcelona, they buy him for 26 million, bish bash bosh, and What Real Betis want with Antony is they're saying, well, we'll have him on loan, no obligation to buy, but we'll pay all his salary. We'll take his salary off your hands. And if we decide not to buy him, we'll give you 2 million quid, because United will have if you don't make this a permanent, you give us 2 million. If Barcelona don't make Rashford a permanent, they give us 3 million. But if we make this permanent, we'll pay up this, and they're not going to pay up to make it permanent. At least at Barcelona, if Rashford goes to Barcelona and bags 15 goals and 10 assists, Barcelona are going to pay 30 million to make that permanent. You know that if Antony goes to Real Betis and bags 20 goals, they still probably wouldn't pay 30 million to make it permanent, and they'd still try and have a loan deal. Betis are like that. Although my one thing with Barcelona is that they want Nico Williams, and I think they're going to wait till next season to get Nico Williams. So are they just having Rashford as a stopgap, 1-year option? That's the plan, get Nico Williams. That's my own fear with Barcelona. But I think that's the situation. I mean, look, Cole Palmer suits Amorim's system so much more than Maresca's system, and he's so good for Maresca anyway. We can dream. Cole, if right now, we could be the least realistic transfer window ever. We're taking Cole Palmer. We're taking Sandro Tonali. We're taking Alexander Isak. We're taking, them kind of. No, never going to happen. Never going to happen. But they're the kind of players that would absolutely transform us, Cole Palmer. But never going to happen in a million years as well. Never going to happen in a million years. I'm live. What are you doing? Oh, thank you. They've brought me a Coke. Anyway. Don't believe Betis have 30 million. I think they do. They've made 50 million in sales. They've made 50 million in sales. So I think they will. I think they have 30 million. I just think they don't want to pay it. I'm at the point where anything over 25 million, I would take. Anything over 25 million, I'd take. Oh, Cole Palmer for FPL. I was going to say, when you were talking about, I thought you were talking about Man United signing Cole Palmer, and I was like, what are you on? What are you on? Like, obviously, I dream of Man United selling Cole Palmer as a Man United fan. Like, I always make jokes about it. But, like, guys, come on. Come on. Like, we never get Cole Palmer, but FPL, yeah, Cole Palmer's a good shout. But for Man United, it's not realistic. Anyway, let's continue on into some more updates, some more news, and all of this as well. Yeah. Anyway, Amarin on Cunha and Mbeumo. They are truly humble. They know how to fit into a group. They don't act like they're like stars. I always feel like that's a dig at Garnacho. I don't want to take Amarin's words like out of context and make it something, because he could just be saying this and not even thinking of Garnacho. But I always read that as they are humble, they know how to fit into a group, they don't act like stars, they're also team players and improve this team at every level. That's what he didn't like about Garnacho. There's a small part of me that goes, you know, why is everyone saying that's Alice's boyfriend? Alice likes older men. That's my uncle. Weirdos. Anyway, again, they're truly humble. They know how to fit into a group. They don't act like stars. They're also team players and improve this team at every level. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that's a dig at Garnacho. I don't know. But that's the truth about Mbeumo and Cunha. Even if it's not a dig at Garnacho, it's probably not a dig at Garnacho. But that's what he's saying about them. Humble players, they fit into a group, they're team players. And he speaks about how they're proven players, how United needed proven, they're Premier League proven, they've got the physicality. He speaks about all of that. But one of the things that Amram mentions that I liked is this. Matheus Cunha and Brian Mbeumo had different solutions to offers. They have offers from Champions League, but they wanted to come here. Those who say they are here for the money, it's a lie, which is true. They are not here for the money. They got similar wage offers from other clubs. Newcastle tried to put out the story that Mbeumo was on 250k a week and rejected them for the money. That's not true. He's not even on. I think he's on 150k a week. Okay, they didn't come to Man United for the money. Matheus Cunha is the biggest Manchester United fan ever. The biggest Manchester United fan ever has always dreamed of this move. He's been flirting with us for 3-4 years. Like, he's always dreamed of a Man United move. He literally said it's a privilege to be at United, not pressure. It's a privilege to be here. Brian Mbeumo, also massive United fan. Anana, the best thing we've done with Anana is him helping us get Mbeumo, because apparently he played a part. They're good friends. So for me, it's really good to have two players in Cunha and Mbeumo that read all the negative shite about us, all the negative press about us, seen us play absolutely crap, seen us be absolutely awful, still want to come to Manchester United despite offers from multiple Champions League clubs. Arsenal made an offer for Cunha and Mbeumo. Newcastle made an offer for Cunha and Mbeumo. Not offers, but like offers to the player. But obviously they didn't make a big, because they didn't get the reception there. But Newcastle and Arsenal both looked at Cunha and Mbeumo. Obviously, Mbeumo didn't want to be second fiddle to Saka. I understand that from his sense. Tottenham really wanted Mbeumo. Chelsea tried to make a late bid for Mbeumo. Do you know what I mean? Like, they came to us, not just because of the money, because they wanted to be here. They liked the project. They knew the role they were going to play under Aaron, and they liked that. And I think that's a massive green flag. I think that's a massive green flag with those signings. Any news on the new stadium? I'm kind of ignoring the new stadium news at the moment, guys. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. And the main reason I'm kind of ignoring the new stadium news is because, like, it's not like it's happening, but it's not happening yet. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just fed up of reading things like, oh, and then we're going to charge $4,000 a season ticket. What? Like, that's ridiculous. $4,000 a season ticket is ridiculous. Like, you're literally, the people that can afford $4,000 a season ticket, like, that's not the locals. That's not the people that have given Man United more support than anyone else. I mean, I was reading stuff about I don't know how true that was, but I was reading stuff about a new stadium, and I've kind of ignored it. And until it's like 100% happening in the works, in the plan, we'll talk about it. But I just can't be bothered as well. Oh, Leao has scored. He has actually scored, Rafael Leao. Uh, anyway, I shouldn't be laughing because they're still gonna win the league, aren't they? Big up everybody watching, by the way. Big up to everybody watching. Let's get into news. I want to talk about Watkins. I want to talk about a couple of the other stories. Angelo Stiller is apparently available for 40 million. He's a good option, but there is definitely physical questions around him. But honestly, I just this new stadium stuff. I just feel we need a new stadium. That's good. That's great. But 4 grand, people will pay 4 grand. We've got a lot of supporters. But what I'm saying is, the people who live on Man United's doorstep, the people that have been season ticket holders for years, they spend a lot of money to go watch Man United play, and they give a lot to this club. 4 grand, that's not like it's particularly in this country with the cost of living and the ridiculous amount of tax we have to pay, which hasn't gone down considering the cost of living has gone up. With everything, these hard-working locals spend a lot of money watching Manchester United, a lot of money, and then you buy food at the game. All of that takes up your whole weekend, takes up family time, and then United deliver them the performances they delivered recently. Shocking. 4 grand. That is ridiculous for a season ticket. 4 grand. That's ridiculous. I tell you what, some people get rent lower than that a year. Probably not anymore, actually. But my friend's Unicom was around that a year. Anyway, let's continue on into some more news. Let's continue on into some more stories. But yeah, I was just wanting to talk about that because look, I really want Ollie Watkins now. I don't know what the possibility of getting him is. He's open to the move. Villa say they don't want to sell, but do Villa not want to sell, or are they saying they don't want to sell to get a good price out of United? There's question marks around that. But Ollie Watkins and Mbeumo together, when they were running in behind, when they were at Brentford, they were deadly. They were some duo. 42 goals between them. And of course, they were younger. I mean, Watkins was probably entering his prime age. Mbeumo was a young guy back then. Mbeumo was literally like a teenager. Mbeumo's 25, and Mbeumo was literally like 20 there. But I'd love that. I'd love them to at United. So I wanted to talk about some of the Ollie Watkins news. The stadium, look, it does look a bit of a circus tent. It is quite funny as well. Very expensive new stadium. It's going to take a lot. Like, I think the new stadium could be great, but yeah. Watkins is 30 in December, which for me is why Watkins is a 50 million max. For me, Watkins is a 45 million pound player. Villa know he's turning 30 in December. Villa want to sell. I think Villa pretended they don't want to sell to try and get 60 million. That's what I think as well. I tell you, Rafael Leao had some goal there, didn't he? Absolutely smashed it. I'm surprised Arsenal went for Madueke when they could have got Leao. I am really shocked Arsenal went for Madueke when they could have got Leao. Especially because Leao could play central. Yeah, that was a mad goal, by the way. But I wanted to talk about Watkins. Sorry if I'm a bit distracted. I've been watching like the pre-season games in the back of this live stream. I was meant to go live half an hour ago. Just had jobs to do. But this is what's come out. So I wanted to show you this on Watkins because I saw a couple of people like, I don't want Watkins, Rushford benched him, whatever. No, like Watkins is a good player. Like, I'm sorry. Look at like last year, people were saying Watkins wasn't great. People were saying Watkins was not great last year. Last year, Watkins got 17 goals and 14 assists. Okay, Watkins missed some big chances, whatever. Last season, he got 17 goals and 14 assists. If Rasmus Hojlund had got 17 goals and 14 assists last season, this fan base would be creaming. And I said that on United View. This fan base would be absolutely creaming themselves if Rasmus Hojlund had got 17 goals and 14 assists in a season. They would have absolutely been loving it. But apparently Watkins, who got 17 goals and 14 assists a season, not good enough. Of course, a big age difference. Plays for a better side. Missed big chances. But when we've got Rasmus Hojlund with 4 goals and can't even do it versus Hong Kong, and I don't think Hojlund's a bad player. I think Hojlund could be a really good player in the future. I just don't think he's going to be a good player at Man United. I think we've just drained. Because even for Denmark, he's not performing. And he was good for Denmark before he joined us. And he was good at moments in his first season. But Hojlund looks drained as a player. Like, really drained. Like, Hong Kong, seeing All Stars was awful. Ollie Watkins, it's an improvement. It's an obvious improvement. Of course, his stats before that were nothing insane, but they were still decent stats, in the Premier League and in general. But I'm just like, his runs in behind, his partnership with Mbeumo, I just feel like we should go for him. We should go for him. Swap Hojlund for Watkins. I don't think Villa would agree to that for some reason. I think they'd agree to a Garnacho swap. But I actually think Garnacho for Watkins straight swap is worse on our end because of the obvious age. Because of the obvious age. Do you know what I mean as well? But like, I would take Watkins. Watkins apparently is open to United move, which is good. But Villa don't want to sell. United prefer an experienced striker. Their ideal striker would be someone like Watkins. They have had conversations with Watkins. 60 million. Villa are sort of telling us to back off a little bit in regards to Watkins, basically. So we'll see what happens there as well. But I have to say, I was just watching back that Leao goal. It's a very tasty goal. Very tasty goal from Rafael Leao. But look, I don't want to. It's a pre-season, so I'm not going to banter Liverpool for going 1-0 behind. They'll probably win the game. But we play tonight. We play tonight in pre-season. So I'm a bit nervy for West Ham. Obviously, Mbeumo. I think Mbeumo and Cunha. Mbeumo's set to make his debut. Mbeumo's set to make his unofficial Manchester United debut today. I like that we're playing Premier League teams. I also like, and this is a bit sad, but the teams we're playing is generally our competition. Like next season, West Ham is our competition. So the teams that we're going out and playing in pre-season are competitors, are people we're competing with. So in West Ham, it's good to see how we do up against West Ham. Mbeumo set to make unofficial debut. Cunha set to play. I'm excited for this game. I mean, it probably will be boring knowing Man United, but you know, Mbeumo's now in the door. I think he will score. I think Mbeumo's going to score today. I believe Mbeumo's going to score today. And then we've got Bournemouth and Everton. Everton, Bournemouth, and West Ham are the three clubs that we're probably going to be competing with in mid-table next season, but we hope we finish above them. So it's a good test to play those three, and then we can have a David De Gea return, and we're all ready for Arsenal on the 17th. I'm just saying, Mbeumo winner, and he brings the Victor Gyökeres celebration out. That would be good stuff to see. So I like these sort of pre-season games here. 2:30 a.m. Not looking forward to that. But I'm excited. There will be a 3 a.m. video then, it looks like. There looks like there could be a video out at 3 a.m. tonight. You know, I've been up since 6:30, so I'm definitely going to have a nap before that. But I'm excited for the games today. Wouldn't mind Mateta. Crystal Palace are on the verge of signing a new striker. I don't think Mateta's going to go anywhere. I don't think we're going to sign him. But if Mateta's on the market, he becomes... I prefer Mateta to Jackson and Sesko. So if Mateta's on the market, that's something we got to look at. Proven as well in the league. I don't like 5 at the back, but I'm thinking with Amarin, with Dorgu and Ahmad now playing higher, it will become more of a 3 at the back, if I was going to be honest. But yeah, anyway, people, I think Mbeumo could get a goal today. I have a feeling an Mbeumo goal's coming. Unofficial debut today versus West Ham. Excited for Mbeumo debut. Excited to watch Cunha ball out. Hopefully win over West Ham. So hopefully something to be positive about. I would love to go into next season versus Arsenal feeling confident, feeling positive. I don't think that will be the case, but I'd love to go into next season feeling this way. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, so the latest on Antony is Saudi Arabian teams want him. It's now been confirmed by Antony's agent. Antony is open to the move. He's ready to potentially go to Saudi. We got updates in regards to just Antony and all of that and what's going on there. We've had discussions about Watkins. Obviously, Villa don't want to sell, but we want him. We've had discussions about Mbeumo debut today, and we just had general discussions, FPL talk, and all of that. But yeah, I just wanted to make it short and sweet. Thank you for watching. Bye.